We are grateful to be back with you Thursday night. McFiles on the news side tonight. Grateful to see everybody. We apologize. We know we were hoping so badly to get Judge Sherilyn Allen with us tonight. She was at an event, and we knew that we were going to be pushing it. I even had hoped to get her on later tonight, but she just could not make it. So you're stuck with this old dude, and but she's coming the 21st, a week from Tuesday. And we got Dr. Stephen Smith coming back with us that week. He's going to be talking about RFK Jr. and autism and some of the things that he sees going on. There's a report out tonight that by the summer, RFK is going to be releasing information on why there has been such an explosion of autism in kids. You know, I was watching him today, and it's good to see everybody tonight. Let me just say hello to you. It's not the worst thing in the world. You could have the host with you. There may be a difference of opinion out there, but that's okay. Chris is used to it. After 7 years, 7.5 years. Goodness, we're entering. This is our 8th year. We're ongoing into our 8th year right now. It's crazy that folks would stick around and listen to this nut for that long. This redneck. Now we're gonna have a show tomorrow night, and it'll be me. James Akers is going to join me tomorrow, and we may have a few surprises. I've got a dear friend, Jonathan Taryn. Jonathan was actually in the emergency room with my father the day he died. Jonathan's a family friend. He's been through a lot, but he's really doing great, and we still talk, and we were related at one time in the past, but he was a very interesting interview, and it got deleted. I got to find it in the archives. The night that COVID really hit the country, I mean the very week that the COVID-19 sham hit the country, Jonathan was in the emergency room, and he had a lot of interesting things to say. That was really the first time that our network started getting the attention of YouTube. We got suspended for a week, and then it wasn't too long after that they started digging and found some other videos of some other individuals I regret having now, but it just is what it is. And they finally got that first channel. At first channel, we were approaching 100,000 subscribers, and we've recovered about half of them. If you haven't subscribed to our news network, please do share it out to your friends and to your enemies. Husbands, share it out with your wives. Wives, share it out with your husbands. If any of my family is listening tonight, be sure to subscribe and hit the subscribe button. Many of you are not subscribed to the channel. I'm just in a jolly good mood. We're gonna have some fun tomorrow night, and we've got some good stories to talk about tonight. A lot of interesting stuff, and we hope that you'll stick around for this. Big news on Capitol Hill tonight. Before I get to that, there was a tragic story tonight. I don't have, we're not sure of all the details. I've been working on some other things for the show tonight, but our sympathies and condolences to the families of those 6 individuals that fell out of the sky today. It was awful. I mean, it was absolutely awful. Here's a video of it. I'll go ahead and we'll come over here to our screen. Where am I at? Right here. Is it this one I do? Yeah, I think this one's the one that, hang on just a second. I'm going to come over here to where, and I'm going to bring the camera up here. Let me see. Let me get my glasses on. And so I'll see what I'm doing here. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll just do it this way. Hang on just a second. Right there. And this is our stage. We're going to be playing some videos over here tonight anyway. But I want you to watch this. This was horrible today. 6 people, including some children, were on board this helicopter, and it just literally dropped out of the sky. And prayers for the family tonight. But there it is right there. did this, put some music to it, but look at that. Very, very, very tragic. That happened today in New York, fell into the Hudson River. And as of tonight, the death toll of that crash is 6. And more details will be emerging in that. But our prayers and our sadness tonight for all those that were involved in that. I just wanted to get that out of the way tonight. There was some big news today on Capitol Hill. And I am very critical of the Republicans, sometimes a lot on this show, to be frank with you. But I've got to tip my hat tonight to Speaker Johnson, and I've got to tip my hat to Majority Leader John Thune. They helped pass 3 huge pieces of legislation. We'll go to our news wire. I want to talk about all 3 a little bit tonight. We talked about it on the news show this afternoon on K-Star Talk Radio. It's so good to see everybody in the house tonight. And if you've been watching us actually on the K-Star Radio, please please be sure to give us a thumbs up out there. Anyway, our sadness for the things. But this is the Newswire section tonight in Gateway Pundit. And we're going to talk about the Supreme Court allowing this El Salvadorian MS-13 gang member back in. Not cool. Not cool at all. But we did have some wins today. And the first one is basically the SAVE Act. And I'm going to try to find it down here. By the way, 6 Trey Diagra terrorists have been arrested in Mobile, Alabama tonight. That's near my brother. They need to be deported. Actually, they need to be put in jail and then deported. But this is an interesting story here. Let me find it here. Here it is, the first one. Let's talk about the budget first. We'll find the SAVE Act next. The House this afternoon or this morning passed the Trump-backed budget resolution. There were 2 versions of the bill. Trump got his wish, 216 to 214. These 2 Republicans voted no. Sparks and Massey. This is a big, big win. Trump called it one big, beautiful bill to pave the way for savings of over $1 trillion. The resolution includes a sweeping tax cut that's coming this summer, securing the border, unleashing American energy independence, and more cost cutting by DOGE. Earlier Thursday, Speaker Johnson said he had the votes to adopt Trump's budget resolution. This morning, I believe we have the votes to finally adopt it so we can move forward. Very, very important. This was the vote in the House today. Roll the tape.
On this vote, the yeas are 216, the nays are 214. The motion is adopted without objection. The motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
And there we have it, just like that. We've got Trump's wishes. He says congratulations to the House on the passage of a bill that sets the stage for one of the greatest and most important signings in the history of our country. Among other things, it will be the largest tax and regulation cuts ever contemplated. Make America great again. Folks, he's going to wind up balancing this budget. If the House and the Senate would get behind him, he would absolutely balance this budget. I believe he would. That was win number 1. Win number 2 had to do with let me lock this in so we can, and we're going to talk about all this with you a little bit later tonight, but these stories are very important. The other big bill today that was passed, by the way, we're going to talk about the beatdown of China tonight. This is the SAVE Act. This one passed. 208 Democrats voted against it, which basically meant they were voting for illegals to vote in elections. The SAVE Act was passed in the House by a vote of 216 to 208. Only 4 Democrats, Ed Case, Henry Cuellar, Jared Golden, and Marie Perez, voted to secure elections from illegal voting. There's the total right there, 220 to 208. The House of Representatives is scheduled to vote on that this morning. The Senate, actually it passed in the House of Representatives. Gateway Pundit does this sometimes. They splice their articles together. But it is good news, and I'll tell you why that is good news. Here's the news of that. That's the second win, folks. Basically what that means is this. Let me come back over here and say something about that. The illegals, and we know that at least 800,000 of them voted in the New York elections. That's a given. That's been confirmed. Well, this bill, which was basically pushed by Chip Roy, and he called a lot of living hell for it, and he shouldn't have. It was a great bill. He's requiring now that there is voter ID in those polls. Before you go to the polls next time, you're going to have to show an ID to vote in all 50 states. It's a federal mandate. In addition to this, they're going to basically give criminal fines and criminal penalties to those that allow illegals to vote. I talked about it on the radio show today. By the way, if you've been listening to us on K-Star, give us a little thumbs up. If you are a sponsor or a business and you would like to get on board the K-Star train, let me know. We got a Mac News Report, the MacNewsReport.com. The site is looking good. And we're going to have a place for you to put your business card. And if you'd like to invest in a great website of news 24/7, please let me know. But this bill is going to require people to show their ID at a voting place, which is exactly what we should have always been doing. I've never voted in Tennessee elections where they have not made me show my driver's license. Now, my driver's license picture is so ugly, they sit there and laugh at it for 15 minutes, but at least they make me show it. At least they make me show the driver's license. One individual, one year, I think it was the last presidential election, looked at the card. He said, "You sure do look a lot older in person." And you know that's an insult, because those driver's license pictures are the worst pictures we take in the world. And when he says I look worse in person than I did on the driver's license picture, I knew, I was getting old. But anyway, that's another issue. But this is the good news about this. This is going to affect California. This is going to affect New York. This is going to affect Michigan. This is going to affect Pennsylvania. By the way, did y'all see Gretchen Whitmer in the White House today thanking Trump? Oh, Jesus is coming. Jesus is coming. And we're going to talk about something else about related to that in a minute. But anyway, it's going to affect all these blue states. And this little party that the Dems have been having with the illegals, thinking that they're going to the polls, and these people that don't have IDs, it's over. And I, again, tip my hat to the House and the Senate for making this law. Trump will sign these bills this weekend. That was the second one. The third one, I'm not going to pull the story up, but Derek Issa of California basically put a bill before the Congress, finally, somebody did, to rein in this judicial overreach by these federal judges on the lower end of the circuit. And it was called the Rogue Judges Act, No Rogue Judges Act. It passed overwhelmingly. Mike Turner of Ohio was the only idiot on the Republican side that voted no against that bill. That passed 219 to 209. And, of course, no Democrat voted for that bill. The only defections out of the Democrat Party were four for this bill with the illegals and the voting. The budget was a lot closer, 216 to 214, and that's how razor thin votes. Our majority is in the House. It's very razor thin, and we have got to be working hard for 2026 to make sure that that majority stays Republican, because these Dems are screaming tonight. I'll tell you about it more in a minute, that they're wanting Trump's head on a platter and they're wanting Elon Musk right behind him. But these are three big wins. And they're legislative wins. They're not short-term things that somebody can just overturn in the next election cycle. Once this gets codified into law, if they want to overturn it, then they better have both houses, and that's a possibility if we don't vote. But as long as there's a Republican majority in those houses of Congress, no matter who gets in that White House, then this will be law. This is the law of the land. I got a feeling that you're going to see a lot of difference in the election in 26 and the numbers than we did in past. Look, Tulsi Gabbard's out there tonight, and she is admitting and she is investigating these Dominion voting machines. I got my channel censored twice over this Dominion voting machine stuff. One of the times we got taken down, and for 2 weeks, it was the second on this channel. I had to literally, this channel was taken down for 2 weeks back in 2020 when Brad Johnson basically came on here and told the world that they were cheating with Dominion. And Tulsi Gabbard's investigating it. And she's investigating these machines, and she says she believes that she's got evidence to see that there was tampering. No kidding. No kidding. Yeah, well, they were tampering. But anyway, it's something to keep your eye on. These are great stories. These are wins for us, and we need to savor them. But folks, the moral of these stories is this. You've got laws now that are codified because of a Republican majority in both the House and the Senate. You've got ID that has to be showed at a voting booth now because of the Republican Senate and the House. You've got a bill that basically is not going to allow these judges to run roughshod over Trump's agenda, thanks to a Republican House and a Republican Senate. And we've got a budget, folks. Listen, this budget that Trump's got in his hands, it's very possible that we will see the largest, greatest change in our income tax system we have seen maybe in 100 years or 50 years or whenever the tax code was established. And I will tell you this, it's going to change the face of the economics of this country. That's how important this budget was. And I think, you know, the Dems are seething and gnashing teeth and cussing and F-bombing and lying and doing things the Dems do. And they can lie and F-bomb and pee and snort and jump off a cliff and do everything the Dems do if they want to. It's okay. Enjoy the show, lovebirds, because it's about to get gooder. And we ain't got to the good stuff yet. We ain't got to the investigations in most of you. Now, I've got to mention this, and I've got to talk about a serious situation that's going on in our country on the 19th. I want to thank Dory West for this next story. I did not know about this, but there's a group out there called the 50501, and they're somewhat related to the hands-off movement, but there's a slight variation of this. It's really the muscle behind all these protests. We're going to get to that in a minute, but got to tell you this, the joke of the day are the Dems claiming tonight. Trump tweeted out something yesterday. He said, now's the time to buy or something like that. Well, the Dems have lost their lunch and they think they've got their pound of flesh because they believe that's insider trading, manipulating the markets of America. Trump don't even do the stock market to my knowledge, but they're wanting to investigate him for insider trading. And again, Russia collusion hoax, same thing. Kash Patel, I do want to read this story to you tonight. It's very interesting. Let me do this, and I want to pull this story up. It's on the Newswire. But Janet, I'm with you. Hallelujah, praise God, thank you, Jesus, for these wins, and we need to enjoy them. And I will echo that. I believe that is good news. And there's other stories. There's the bill right there. The House of Representatives passed a bill that limits the authority of judges in federal district courts and would prevent them from being able to issue injunctions in a 218 to 214 vote. It was close. The House of Representatives, also known as the No Road Rulings Act, the NORA bill, that was introduced by Representative Darrell Issa from California, passed, and it basically is going to put an end to this crap and these judges blocking presidential policies, let him cook And good stuff here. Let's see if that's, what is that to? That's to the X account. I thought that was a video, but it's not, and that's fine. But anyway, 218 to 214, and there's Representative Darrell Issa. My hat's off to Issa tonight. He did the right thing. China's losing their stuff tonight, but that's okay. They can do that. This is the story I want to talk about real quick. This is from John Solomon's website, Just the News. Great news source. We've got the link on our MacNewsReport.com site. And this is Jim Jordan here. And I want to see if we can get this to play. Nope, they've got it blocked. They do that sometimes. But anyway, you can find this article on our Telegram room. But just to give you the short and simple of it, Kash Patel, the FBI director, has transmitted to Congress hundreds of pages of the declassified documents from the Bureau's Crossfire Hurricane investigation related to false claims about Trump-Russia collusion. Folks, I've got to say something about that. You would think tonight that these dumb blank Democrats would get the message and stop doing this nonsense and knock this crap off. You know, I don't care if they're stupid. You know, like Kennedy says, I'll just show you the quote. I saw it again tonight. I had to download it. I laughed at it. I just love Kennedy over in Louisiana. He's a good guy. Makes me want to move to Louisiana almost. But he says this right here. He says, we need to stay calm. As a Hindu cow. Some of you will get that joke. We need to stay calm as a Hindu cow and go about our work, speaking to Republicans, and get our bills passed and let the Democrats be the Democrats. So far it's working. You never interfere with your opponent when he's kicking his own ass. Senator John Kennedy. A tip of the hat. Well said, sir. Well said. Now listen to me. You'd think the Democrats would have gotten the freaking message that what they did from the Russia collusion hoax didn't work, and it's backfired, and some of them are gonna go to jail for this. I hope. I pray to God that some of them go to jail for what they did to this country and Trump. They need to. But here they are tonight trying to stir up another false accusation that Trump is involved in insider trading. Warren said it today. Murphy from Connecticut said it today. Schiff said it today. And there was another one. Bernie was out there saying, well, AOC said it. I didn't hear Nancy Pelosi's name mentioned once, folks. And there is all sorts of evidence that her and her husband have profited illegally from insider trading. Nobody said a word about that. So if I'm Kash Patel tonight, while I'm sending these documents to the Congress, if the Democrats want to play this game and go down this road, let's go down this road. And let's investigate all of them and see what their portfolio looks like. Elon Musk is good as said he's going to do it to see how that a senator or a representative comes into D.C. making $140,000, $150,000 a year to be a senator, and yet walks out of the Congress with millions of dollars in their portfolio, millions of dollars in their bank account, millions of dollars in their wealth. It's amazing, as Fred Sanford would say. Ethel, I'm having a big one. It's amazing, Ethel. It's amazing. Wait a minute. I hadn't played this in a while. I've been so out of it. What do we say when that happens? Where's my elementary? There it is. I think this is it.
Ask yourself one question.
Oh, that's not the one. Whoops, that's not the one. I think it's this one right here. Is this the one? No, that ain't the one either. I've got to find my elementary, my dear Watson. What did I do with it? Where's Watson at? Da 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 da. Is this it?
Elementary,
There
my dear
it
Watson.
is. That's elementary, my dear Watson. They're a bunch of crooks. Let me read this, because we got a lot more to go tonight, and I got some video, and I'm going to take your questions. Bear with me. Without the chicken suit, thank you very much. The nearly 700 pages of declassified records have now also been obtained exclusively by Just the News. The release labeled as Crossfire Hurricane Redacted Binder. Dated April the 9th, the move by Trump and Patel follows an executive order by the president in March after his prior efforts to declassify the FBI's Russiagate scandal. In the final days of his first term were thwarted by his own Justice Department. Thank you, Bill Barr. In January of 21. He wouldn't do it. Jeff Sessions, sit by and let it happen. Barr, let it sit by, let it happen. General Merrick Garland and former FBI Director Christopher Wray spent 4 years refusing to make these records public. Well, guess what? It's bad to be made public. The FBI's investigation targeting both candidate and then President Trump in 2016 and beyond began with ginned-up allegations of collusion between Trump and the Russian government, but Crossfire Hurricane was soon exposed as a deep state plot by politicized intelligence and law enforcement agencies to target Trump. Trump's new executive order in late March is titled Immediate Declassification of Materials Related to the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Crossfire Hurricane investigation. In it, he referenced the prior thwarted executive order. In his final full day in office during his first term, he says, quote, I have determined that all of the materials referenced in the presidential memorandum of January 19th are no longer classified. And we're going to follow this to the end. Jim Jordan was interviewing, and this story is a big one, folks. And look, it's something that we're going to put on there on the Telegram room. The other story I'm not going to have time to get to. We talked about it today, and I'm going to mention this, but I want to get to this 50501 group after this, and then we got some videos for you tonight. Whistleblower Sarah Lynn Williams of Facebook. The Russiagate thing is going to percolate for a while. We're going to see. It'll take it time for the information to get out in the public. But there was a big hearing today, yesterday I should say, on Capitol Hill. And this whistleblower was talking to Josh Hawley, and she was telling him basically that Mark Zuckerberg has basically been selling your information and your data to the Chinese off of Facebook. In other words, when you put in your little information and your little date of birth and what you're eating for dinner and what you're going to see over the weekend and the movies you see, well, the Chinese have been storing it. And she pretty much blew the lid off of that today. And we played the clip today over the radio, and I thought we had it, but I think we didn't download the clip itself. But I'm going to play that tomorrow night. That will be one of the things I'm going to talk to James Akers about. But that is a huge story, and one that needs to be investigated. If that's happening, which I don't have no doubt that it didn't, Mark Zuckerberg lied under oath. He lied under oath because he explicitly told Congress back when all these hearings were going on last year that absolutely not. We had no ties to the Chinese. The Chinese had no influence over Facebook. And folks, you know and I know that Facebook was an offender of the COVID-19 censorship, and they were basically deleting, blocking, banning accounts over quote-unquote medical misinformation. Me and my dear family member Jonathan Tarrant, Jonathan and me, I was laughing with him yesterday because it was a week, it was a year ago, 5 years ago tonight, 6 years ago tonight, this week, that we did that interview, and I was laughing. I said, you got my channel yanked, and he said, whoops, I'm sorry about that. I said, it wasn't your fault. But all he was telling us that he was what he was seeing in the ER with the conditions, and he wasn't even giving medical advice, and we lost a Facebook and our YouTube channel for 2 weeks. I know we lost Facebook for a week. I think Facebook took it down, but I know YouTube did, and they took our channel down with it. So it would make sense that the Chinese did have their fingers in the Facebook pie, and probably telling Facebook to monitor and censor anybody that was basically saying the obvious, that it came from a Wuhan lab, and it was a weaponized virus by the Chinese to destroy Trump, and it was used by the Democrats to destroy and steal an election. I mean, like my brother said, if these bastards weaponize the virus, what won't they do? What won't they do? What won't they do? I just feel a Sherlock Holmes coming on.
My dear Watson.
It's elementary, my dear Watson. Of course they were involved in it. But this story, folks, should have been on every news site tonight. It ain't. They're taking your data. They're storing it. They know more about you than your family does, probably. Because you type in that stuff on Facebook, and your conversations with people, your sharing, and what you share, what you view on Facebook, the Chinese evidently have got a vault with all that stuff in it over many Americans. Josh Hawley ain't too happy about it. He shouldn't be. But we're going to talk about that. I want to go back to the news wire. A couple more things, and I'm going to deal with this story. This is a Thursday night McFiles. We're grateful you're with us. We normally do a top of the hour sort of, this is who we are. We're grateful to have you folks on a Thursday night if you're enjoying it so far. The Chinese are losing their lunch. They are threatening the world with the ghost of the murderer Mao Zedong. And did you hear about their currency? The yuan today went to a 17-year low, 18-year low. Hasn't been this low since 2007. But this is Mao Ming, or Mao Ning. We are Chinese. We are not afraid of provocations. We don't back down. And she posted this video of the murderer with, I guess, something projecting to us. Roll the tape.
以后是由俺是好耶，或者买个的将来的什么政坛由他们去决定。就是说，他们要打多久就打多久。一直打到环境胜利。
We fight till we completely triumph. We'll see about that. We'll see about that. This mass murder. That's pretty classless for even the Chinese to do, but that's okay, because I got news for the Chinese. I was told by a doctor, your food is sucky and not to eat it. We're going to make American rolls, not Chinese rolls anymore. Your stuff is worthless. The only thing that's ever you've sent over here to this country that's not broken is the COVID virus. I got something to say to the Chinese tonight. You have picked this fight. Trump is good as said it today. You've screwed us over forever, and it's about time that it stops. And it's about to. It's about to. And I know that you don't like it because you like screwing us over, but I'm just giving you a heads up that the party is over. And there's a new sheriff in town. There's been one in town for a while. And it's not going to end well for you, China. I'm just telling you. I am absolutely telling you. It is not going to end well for you. And you can put all your Mao Zedong things up, threatening us all you want to. But I will tell you, we're not scared. We are not scared. Okay, let me do this. I've got a website I want to show you. It's actually off of Facebook, and I'm going to put this up, if you don't mind. They've got a page here, and the page is the 50501 Movement, and I pulled it up today. And these people are nothing but insurrectionists, and I tell you, it's some pretty nasty stuff what they are going to do. They've got an event planned. Let's see here, 50501 movement. Let me show you this website here, and then we'll just take it from here. I'm gonna put this on the newswire and let you be aware of this. This is 50 protests, 50 states, one movement. Thus the 50501 movement. And this is what their website says. It says the first 50501 protests were a decentralized rapid response to the anti-democratic and illegal actions of the Trump administration and its plutocratic allies. The idea of 50 protests in 50 states was born and spread rapidly on social media. Just days, grassroots organizers without any budget have centralized structure or with no official backing has pulled off over 80 peaceful, and I would put that in quotations, protests in all 50 states. 12 days later, tens of thousands of Americans declared No King's Day and protested once more. On March the 4th, they called to stand up for democracy. That's a joke. They don't even know what democracy is. Was answered with another wave of protests. On April the 5th, millions rallied. Our movement shows the world that we're a bunch of dumbasses. I'm sorry. Our movement shows the world that the American working class will not sit idly by as plutocrats rip apart their democratic institutions and civil liberties while undermining the rule of law, like protesting and burning things down. Don't you love these anarchists? How they claim that when they're burning buildings down, torching Telsa factories, keying in with their keys and sharp objects cars, and making death threats and screaming and calling for Elon Musk assassinations and calling for Trump's assassination, that somehow or another that's not against the rule of law. But DOGE basically cutting $150 billion worth of waste out of our government. That's the total right now. They found $5 trillion unaccounted for. They're trying to figure out what happened to $5 trillion. Folks, our national debt ain't but $32 trillion. I mean, $5 trillion of that money we can't even account for. We have no idea where it went. None. $5 trillion. Do you know how much plastic surgery McDonald could do for $5 trillion to make myself look better than my driver's license picture? Do you understand the ramifications of that? But let me regress. $5 trillion with a T, not a B. But they're going to march for the rule of law. Now, this gets more interesting. There's not much there, but it's when you go to their Facebook page that you see the ruse. And I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to click that on. And this is their Facebook page. And let's see, does it go there? It does not go there, so I'm going to have to do it like this. I'll just do it like this. Hang on, it's not going to do it on the screen here, but it will do it here when I do this. This is their Facebook page. And you would know that it would make me sign in. There it is. Actually, I don't have to sign in. Good. I want you to look at this. This was just posted 3 hours ago. This is actually more than we reported on the news show this afternoon. This is Representative Mark Pocan. He looks like a Pocan. He says, under Republican SAVE Act, your driver's license won't be enough to vote. That's a lie, folks. That's a lie. He's calling this modern-day Jim Crow bill that restricts access to the ballot box. I'm going to go back and say something about that. But I want you to come down here. Goodness, they're not going to let me do it. I tell you what, I'll just, let me do this. I'm going to come back over to the live. I'll just read it to you. Off of, by the way, I'm going to play Sonny Holston's response to making people get driver's license. It's being called Jim Crow. It's being called racist. It's being called the things I expected the Dems to do. And they're insulting. And by the way, if I've got some black folks in the audience, listen to me. I love you. We don't have a racist bone in our body on this network. I love you so much. I appreciate all of you. I don't care what the color of your skin is. I don't look at the color of people's skin. I look at the color of their heart. But I'm going to tell you this. why you have not seen through the ruse of the Democrat Party. Some of you are waking up, but some of you not. They are as racist to you as racist can be when they tell you that you can't go afford and buy a driver's license, and because you can't go and buy a driver's license, that gives you that's why this makes this law racist, because it's racist against blacks and Hispanics, and they're even saying that women are going to be hindered from voting because women can't go afford to buy a driver's license and purchase a driver's license. Folks, let me tell you something. That is as racist a statement as you can make. But let me digress, because it ties into this story about this movement, because this is the mentality of these anarchist punk kids. But I want to just read you what their statement is on Facebook. And I read it today, and I was joking. I mean, I was choking almost on the hypocrisy in these statements, and I'm trying to find it. I had it here lined up, and I got so many videos of these losers. Anyway, right here. Okay, yeah, this is it. Well, no, that's not it. Where is it? I'm trying to find their statement here that I found so hilariously funny. Cory Booker's a big fan of this. AOC's a big fan of this. Let's see here. But, goodness, just give me a minute here. But they have mobilized, folks. They got close to 1.5 million people, or maybe more, in certain states. 50 protests, 5.2 million are protesting. And they're planning a big event on April the 19th. And they are expecting more people than ever to come out and be part of this absolute hideous event. And again, I wish that we could get this to show up. I encourage you to just put 50 states, 50 protests in the. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this in the website folks, no paragraphs in the chat room, please. Keep your comments to a sentence right now. We'll take your questions later. No paragraphs. No paragraphs. But that's the link to the Facebook page that I just posted in there. Now, what they were saying, I'll just paraphrase what basically they were saying. They're threatening or saying that Trump is making people disappear, that Elon Musk is killing the elderly. When he said that Trump is disappearing people, I laughed. And I even said it on the show today. You doggone right, he's making people disappear. No, the people he's making disappear are illegals that shouldn't be here to begin with. Those 6 trade d'Agra terrorists that were arrested near my brother tonight, he lives down there in southwest Alabama near Mobile. Let me tell you something, folks. They're not kindergartners. They're not playground. They don't go to the Mr. Rogers University. Those are killers. Those are gang members. Those are people that if they could get a hold of some of these 50501 idiot kids would kill them in a second. They're useful idiots of the left. But let me tell you what's scary. The numbers. They're getting people to come to their cause. They're getting people to rise up in rebellion and insurrection against this country. And it's April the 10th tonight. Remember that word, 50501. And watch the media, how they cover this in the weeks to come. April the 19th. April the 19th. In tomorrow night's show, we're going to have a segment. I was going to do it tonight, but I feel led to do it tomorrow night. You can tune into tomorrow's radio program, get a preview of it. But April has always traditionally been a very, very violent, dark month for our country. And we're going to look tomorrow on the radio show at some of the events that have taken place in the month of April in the history of our country. And very, very dark stuff has happened to this nation. I don't think it's a mistake that they picked April the 19th. You know what April the 19th is? It was when Hitler died in that bunker. It was the same day he was born. think he was born the 20th, but April the 19th had to do with Hitler, but it also had to do with an event in this country that changed this nation in many ways with the schools, and that was Columbine High School in Colorado back on April the 19th of 1999. I remember it well. I remember it well. And that was when Casey Bernal had the gun pointed to her face by these killers, Dylan Cabo or whatever his name is. I don't even Clibo. I don't even care to remember their name. And he said, your God is a liar. You renounce God. Do you believe in God? And she says, I do. Boom. Shot her. Blew her head right off right there. I know that we out here in the adult world, we think, well, this is just a bunch of punk kids. These are just a bunch of idiot kids. That may be true to a little bit of degree, because I've looked at the videos, and a lot of these videos are young people. I look at this almost like I do the anti-Semitic protest on those campuses, which is, again, a bunch of young punk kids that unfortunately just didn't get their butt beat when they were little, and they got their way and became spoiled brats and thought they are entitled to this, whatever they're doing, and they think it's cute. Well, there's always money and power behind these useful idiots. And whoever it is, and yeah, I know George Soros, and I can just all that, but don't underestimate this movement. And I'm predicting this tonight, folks. You're going to hear a lot more about them before this all is over. They're up to 5.2 million. They just had a protest back in March. 5.2 million people. That's a lot. It's a lot. That's an army. You realize that? 5.2 million anarchists. They are holding signs right now. You get that many holding guns, you got an army. And I'm not saying that's what they're planning, but I've read their website, I've read the Facebook stuff, some dark stuff on there. There's some dark stuff. Ignorant stuff. But ignorance breeds violence, and ignorance breeds destruction in a nation. You got an insurrection on your hands. Now, how President Trump handles this, I don't know how he's going to handle it. But you need to remember these folks. You need to remember these folks. And we will keep our eye on this. Alrighty. But let's see here. Mercy. 501 50501. Okay. Now, this is This is Jesse Walters talking to Elon about this $5.5 trillion can't be accounted for. Give me about 15 minutes of these, and I'm going to let you sound off on a Thursday night. But here's Jesse and Elon. Roll the tape. Well, that's not the roll the tape. I'll do that a lot. I make myself look so foolish. I need to remember that one's the video, one's a picture. Roll the tape.
$5 trillion in payments that are untraceable. The budget line is blank. And they're worried about your Bitcoin. 5 trillion, untraceable. No idea where it went and how it was spent. A $5 trillion blank check. Social Security sent out $72 billion in bad checks. Guess who resigned last night? The head of Social Security. Right when DOGE asked Michelle King to have a seat because she was about to get canned, she says, "You can't fire me because I quit." And the press is acting like this isn't suspicious. You may assert there's no waste in the Pentagon. You may assert there's no waste in Treasury.
I'm not
you may assert there's no waste in HHS.
Stephen, I don't think anyone...
Then why are you not celebrating these cuts? If you agree there is waste, if you agree there is abuse, if you agree there is corruption, why are you not celebrating the cuts, the reforms that are being instituted? Every day that no action is taken, the entire salaries of American workers that are taxed disappear forever.
Stephen, let's calm down.
This is
we're not having a debate.
There's no reason
about whether they're are
Well, you are clearly
places.
trying to debate me, and I will be, as I want to be, about the fact that we are saving Americans billions of dollars.
Thank you, Stephen.
$1 billion in payments that are untraceable.
Untraceable. Just $5 trillion bucks. Monopoly money. Folks, our entire debt ain't but $32 trillion. I mean, Trump is basically going to cut $1 trillion off of this new budget bill that was passed today. That's 5. That's 6. That is a fifth of that 32. You take $7 trillion off, it's down to 27, 26. Well, at least it's something better than 32. But somebody needs to find out why Social Security and the spending things, that's why they hate Elon, folks. That's why they hate Elon. This is why they hate Elon. I did find the thing I was looking for. I want you to read this with me. This is off of their website. I found what I was looking for. This is their words, not mine. This is the power behind, or whatever the thinking is behind these kids. And they're mostly young people, folks. They are mostly young people. But it says a lot of people are expressing confusion about April the 19th, and I want to try to help and clear it up a bit. Whoever this is. If your area is doing a big protest, absolutely do that. That's an action. We're calling it a day of action and not a protest. Because if you call it a protest, anyway. But individual chapter states can choose to protest if they want. Ain't you amazed like I am about the wording and the semantics of the left? They just love to do word plays, don't they? They just love to twist words and put different meanings to words, and this is something they love to do. We just aren't doing a big national push. We need to think of it a bit more long-term and practical. You see, this is what frustrates the living you-know-what out of me about our side. These leftists, they all in. They are all in with this nonsense. I remember a comedian saying something about the transgenders, and I don't mean to be a little crash here. He was joking about it. It wasn't a joke, but he was saying, he said, I don't understand why a man would want to cut his thing off and become a woman. But he said, that's just what these transgenders do. They just want to whack the male organ off and become a woman. They're all committed to it. And he said, I don't understand it, but I support your stupidity to do it because this is America. This is free. I don't understand what drives this kind of thinking. I do, but they're all in. They are fully committed to this, folks. My question to us tonight, before we judge these kids, I want to ask you a question. Are we as committed to what's right as they are to what's wrong? And I'm going to answer that question for you. Most of us are not. So, because we waver. We waver when we get pressured and when we get cornered and our family starts running their mouth and our friends start running their mouth and our friend starts trashing the country and our family starts trashing our values and starts trashing Trump and trashing Elon and trashing the right thing that they're doing. Folks, you're going to have people in your circle tonight, many of you, that are going to get up with you in the morning and call you up and say, well, what Trump did with this ID law was just racist. He's just a racist fascist. I put money on it. And then all of a sudden, we'll start apologizing for Trump. Well, I don't want to offend you. I don't want us to fight. I can guarantee you this bunch, they don't have those calls. They don't get those calls from anybody. No, they all in on this crap. They're all in on it. And I'm not talking about as a group. I'm talking about they are fully committed to this nonsense. Let me read on. We are 50501 is in a very good position to help Americans being impacted. And this is what they believe is bad with our country right now. Listen. They're claiming a lot of people have lost their jobs. By the way, unemployment went down last month, not up. We gained 228,000 jobs. That's 70 or so, roughly, more thousand jobs than we thought we would make in March. Shot up. But that's what they're telling their people. They're convincing these kids that people are losing their jobs. They believe the stock market is crashing. The stock market has been soaring over the last 48 hours since Trump brought China to its knees and blank slapped them to the ground. But these kids are convinced that it's crashing. And I'm saying kids, folks. This may not be kids. This could be somebody else, and it's just the kids are the face of it. People are losing their access to food, and they've got in there losing food stamps. Let me just go ahead and make a statement to pee a few folks off tonight. I don't care who you are and who what you think you're entitled to. If you're able to work and you are physically able to work and you're mentally capacitated to work, and because you don't want to work because you're nothing but a lazy cow and you want to sit on a sofa and eat bonbons and watch soap operas all day and get up at 12 at noon and whore hop and drink and dope and snort cane and smoke and then get up and draw a government check and go to the food stamp store and say, I ain't got to work because I got to go do my whore hopping and my drinking and my beering and my reveling and all this stuff, but I'm going to let the government pay for it, you're a disgrace. And let me tell you something, you need to lose your food. He that don't work don't eat. He that don't work don't eat. And I know this is some tough talk, folks, but I'm telling us tonight, they're all in on this. We need to be courageous enough to be all in on our side. Many are not. I don't mind telling you that. I don't mind putting my name on it. These opinions are 100% mine. They may not be yours, but that's okay. That's what makes the world go round. Yeah, they need to lose their food, and some of them need to lose the food stamps. Now, there are some out there that can't work physically. And there are some, and see, this is part of the problem. The ones that truly can't work are being denied benefits because our rolls are full of people that are in that very same category right there. They're taking the food stamps that belongs to people that do need to eat food. While I'm at it, the church needs to be doing its part in feeding the hungry and clothing the naked and helping the poor. The government should not be the welfare program, it should be the church, but that's another issue for another time. They say that people are losing food, and then they go on here. Food pantries are struggling to keep up. Of course they are. You know why? Because people are going to food pantries that don't need to go to food pantries. See, this is easy to stand up to, folks, but when you've got this mentality in the minds of these 50501 protesters, they don't see it this way. No, they think that Musk and Trump and the Republicans and these evil government people are causing people to starve to death because of Musk wanting to cut the fraud and abuse out of Social Security. By the way, did you realize that he found out today that there were people as old as 116, 120 years old getting tens of thousands? There were people that were not even born yet, had birth dates that were not even born yet, getting Social Security, food stamp benefits, and Medicaid benefits. But people are losing food and starving and losing their food stamps. You're saying you're being unkind, McDonald. No, not even close. Not even close. Not even close. But this gets better. So far, the price of everything is about to go up. You know, it's amazing. I did not hear nobody complain about the prices of food. This bunch never complained about the price of food under Joe Biden. Folks, this is the worst 4 years. I'm going to tell you something. I don't see how you families of 5, 6, 4 survived these last 4 years. You know, it's basically just been me, and it's now me and Kathy. And I tell you, there's no way that most of us were able, without the Lord's help, to survive these last 4 years. Because you go to the grocery store over the last 4 years, you put 5 items in your grocery cart and you need a banker. But now they're saying that the prices are soaring up because of Trump. Whoopi Goldberg today lied, went on national television and lied and said egg prices ain't coming down. No prices are coming down. Where's Trump's magic wand? You know, he's only been in office 70 days. I never heard them complain about Joe Biden's prices. Hypocrisy. Did you hear what Chuck Todd told Piers Morgan tonight? He said the media had a right to lie about Joe Biden's deficiencies and his cognitive decline. They had a right to lie about it because Trump, they hated Trump so bad that to them they were justified in doing it. Just a real lovely bunch. Let me go on. This gets better. This gets better. The price of everything is about to go up, so I'm encouraging you all to come about and to do community actions. And she goes on to do this. This, I thought this was the one where it said that Trump was making people disappear, but I guess it's not. I'll find it. I've got the somewhere. I saved it somewhere. I'll find it. But they went on to say that because of Trump, he was disappearing people, is the way he put it. They put it, and I had to laugh because yeah, he's disappearing people, all right. Yeah, he's disappearing illegals. And I'm sure most of them illegals were probably buddies, and some of these folks were probably tipping these illegals off when ICE was showing up at their door. Yeah, there's been a mass exodus. I'll give him that. I'll give him that. So this is what we're up against, folks. This is what we're up against. Now, here's Sunny Holston today. I don't know whether this was a radio program or not, talking about ID, voter ID, and driver's license. Roll the tape.
People don't have cars, don't have driver's licenses. So it's sort of a vestige of, I think, post-slavery laws where black people had to prove their right to vote, and oftentimes they couldn't vote because they couldn't pass some crazy test or they didn't have the appropriate ID. It also affects women that are married. Maybe your passport reflects something that's different on your birth certificate or on your driver's license. So really the bottom line is voter suppression. And I agree with him 100%. It's a brilliant notion that less voter ID laws allows more people to vote. And most democracies do it that way. We're the only ones that really don't do it that way.
Right. I mean,
well, so be it, Sonny. Did you hear what she said? Let me break this down for you in South Georgia language. Voter IDs being required are racist. They're sexist. They're not going to let people vote. Hillary Clinton's out there saying that tonight. She's repeating the same old lie, same old fear-mongering that Trump is doing this to suppress the black vote, that Trump is doing this to suppress the women vote, that you black folks ain't going to never get to vote again. Folks, it's nothing but a lie of the devil. Let me make it abundantly clear. And again, you ain't got to agree with this. You don't have to applaud this. I'm not looking for applause. These opinions are mine. I've been doing this for 7.5 years, and I've learned that the people that applaud you on Monday are wanting your head on Friday, and the people that want your head on Monday are applauding you on Friday. So I don't either praise nor criticism has water off a duck's back. That's one of the beautiful things I think this show has done to me, and I've been thankful to God for it because I've learned to understand both are fickle. Both are fickle. But let me tell you this racist spirit that's in this country, we whites are accused all the time of being racist, and I'm not saying that there ain't racism in some people's hearts out there, because there is. But let me tell you something, it's just as much racism in the black community toward blacks, toward their own people. That's as racist a statement as you'll ever hear. As you'll ever hear. I want to say it again. That's demonic. Because you see, the bottom line is they want these illegals voting. They want these illegal people voting in these races And they want these elections to be tarnished and tainted by this. And Trump is basically saying, and the SAVE Act is basically saying now, this is going to stop. This is going to stop. We're going to have common sense. Come back to our voting rolls. It is not racist, folks, to demand an ID. And I might as well meddle a little bit. These same people that are complaining they can't afford a driver's license, let Uncle Chris give you a little sound advice tonight. Let Daddy Chris give you a little sound advice. Why don't you take that drug money that you go down there and hand off to your cocaine buddy on the side of the street corner, save that pop that you're drugging yourself with and doping with and smoking with and weeding with and drinking with. Just put just one weekend's worth of drug money and drinking money to get by. Most driver's licenses ain't going to cost you about $20-$30. You got it beat right there. And I don't care what color skin you are.
Elementary,
my dear Watson. Elementary, my dear Watson. Elementary, my dear Watson. Oh. What is this? This is, I got so much video. I always do this and forget to put the title up. This is, the Democrats today, when one of the representatives of the House said that Elon has cut $150 billion worth of waste out of government, you'd think the Democrats would be happy about this. Roll the tape.
President, since January, DOGE has saved $115 billion. That amounts to
order.
Please. That amounts to $714 per taxpayer.
Well, booing. Boo! Ain't it amazing what the Democrats boo at and what they cheer for? It's just amazing. Here is Sebastian Gorka with a beatdown of CNN. Roll the tape of Mr. Gorka.
Washington Post reported that the freeze on U.S. foreign assistance in Africa, are you concerned about them at all?
Is that the same Washington Post that propagated the Russia collusion hoax for the last 8 years?
Well, regardless of the Russia...
No, not regardless. You're quoting the Washington Post to me. I really couldn't care less what the Washington Post or the New York Times says, especially when it's anonymous government officials. If it's true, put your name to it.
Thank you, Sebastian.
Not, shut up.
Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you, Sebastian.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
Elementary, my dear Watson. You're going to be a coward and put some anonymous source. Thank you. That's what it looks like. Look at Jake Tapper's face there. That's a beatdown. These media types, folks, they're finding out it's a different world under Trump right now. They could get away with this stuff during the Biden year. They ain't getting away with it anymore because the people have found a courage. And Gorka's right. You're going to put your crap out there. Put your freaking name on it. This is what I'm going to might as well meddle for the second time tonight. All these channels with all these aliases that they trash people and they hide behind their YouTube names, and even in the chat room they won't even put their real name on their profile because they want to go in and say something ugly to somebody or about somebody, but they don't want you to know who they are. That's nothing but a pitiful, pathetic coward. Pathetic. That's our media. That's our world. This is, let's see here. Another video I want to show you right here. This is something we've not talked about yet, but we are going to talk about it maybe tomorrow night because we're not going to be on the news side at all next week. It's going to be a faith week. We got Passover starting Saturday night, and we got one final show tomorrow night. We're going to be a little bit more lighter. We've been a little intense tonight, I think, just a little bit. Lord help us. But this is something I need to address because there's persecution going on, folks, in this world. of Christians. And I want you to watch this very
Praise
closely.
God for that. And that is good news, even for this officer, where this officer, he can choose Jesus Christ and he can repent. And this officer can repent today and turn to Jesus Christ. Remember your oath.
Can I grab his keys? Can I grab his keys?
What you're witnessing there is the treatment of the Muslims marching, praying to Allah, and a street preacher preaching the gospel on the street corner, not hindering, not a soul. They're arresting him, nothing to being done to the Muslims. Welcome to America, folks. Welcome to the UK. You get 2 years in prison. You get 2 years in prison for being arrested in the UK for preaching the gospel. Not good. A very bad trend. This is Kennedy again. I got to play this. Oh, Lord.
Professor, you say men can get pregnant.
Of course they can.
Are you qualified to be here?
Yes, I have a degree, Senator, sir.
What kind of degree? Like on a thermometer?
It's all fun and games until your son comes home pregnant.
How exactly does a man get pregnant?
Is that a serious question?
Yes, it's a serious question.
Maybe Dr. Pushhard can answer that one. She's sitting right there.
We're delivering more than a promise.
How does a man get pregnant?
It's called rearing a child.
Are you sure?
With all due respect, sir, I'm the expert here.
I'm confused.
I think we all are confused.
What hole does the baby come out?
They're called rectal births, or...
I want to ask a question. Has anybody heard of a rectal birth? I've not. Please don't answer the question in the chat room. I'm not going to lower you to that. This is the insanity of this world. I'm going to tell you something, folks. These people believe this stuff. And that's really what I'm trying to get across to you tonight. They're all in. Did you see those professors? They're all in on this. They didn't stutter. They didn't sit there and think, oh, well, let me... No, they are all in on this perverse nonsense. All of it. Not good. This is what I was talking about with the UK. Roll the tape.
Welcome back to UBN Tonight with me, Martin Daubney. Now, the Labour-ran Rushmore Borough Council has sparked outrage by proposing a sweeping injunction that could see Christian street preachers in prison for up to 2 years if the injunction is breached. Now, over claims of causing offence or distress. Now, under the proposed terms, Christians will be banned from praying for individuals, handing out religious leaflets or Bibles by hand, and laying hands on people in prayer, even with their permission.
That's England. And Cleo was sending me some stuff earlier today. Australia is got similar laws on its books, and Albanese is pushing hard for a 2 to 3 year prison sentence to people that do the same down there. Folks, that is coming here. And I guess this is sort of the theme of the show tonight. If the left is this committed, and those that have evil intents are that committed to their cause, we need to be all in on our cause. You know, the greatest argument in the world, the greatest defense in the world, rings shallow if we don't have the courage to stand up for it in the face of assault. I watched all of this. I've read all this. I've seen all these crazy videos of these people on the left. I'm get asked this all the time. How can people think such? And I see the comments in the chat room. They're dumber than rocks. You're missing the point. No, they're not. They're not dumber than dirt. You miss it. If you think they're dumb, you're just as deceived as they are. And I don't mean that bad, but I want you to listen to me. No, they're not dumb. This is a spiritual matter. These people are all in, folks. They're convinced that they're right. We've got the right argument. Those of us that have stood for what's right and stood for what's biblical and stood for what's spiritual, we're right, but we won't speak up and say anything. We stand in silence with the right argument. They stand in loudness and arrogancy with the evil argument, and they get heard, and we sit in silence and we're afraid to say anything. Now, who do you think is going to win that debate? The one with the right argument that keeps their mouth shut, or the one with the wrong argument that is not afraid and is all in to the point of getting arrested? They don't care if they get arrested. They're all in on what they're doing. That's just some food for thought tonight. That's just some food for thought. And as Chris says, I'll amen myself. I'll amen myself. I will amen myself. Alrighty. I got so much more, and I do want to show you one more thing before I give it to you tonight. This is a very disturbing video. We played this actually in our Bible study this morning. Staples did this. By the way, congratulations to Mike Huckabee. He got the nomination tonight, or this morning, to be our new ambassador to Israel. A great choice. Was never all in with Huckabee being president, but I think he's going to do a great job as ambassador to Israel. I think it's a good choice. But I want you to listen to what happened to this lady, a black lady, when she went to Staples to have some copies made. Very disturbing. And roll the tape.
Good evening. Yeah, this customer is alleging racism on multiple levels. She is a black Orthodox Jewish woman. She says she was just trying to print postcards for an upcoming event.
We're not able to print anything that has any racist messaging.
What is racist about?
Zionists, specifically.
Zionist is not racism, and I'm black.
I understand that I am too, but I'm also Arab. So I do understand the definition of Zionism.
This is cell phone video from Elisheva Rishon, who says she was lured to a Staples store in Mid-Wilshire by an employee who said her order was ready for pickup. But when she arrived, that same employee said the order had been canceled because it was racist.
I thought at first the problem was a lack of education, a difference in interpretation, so I told him my personal opinion of what Zionism is to going to return to your homeland after over 2,000 years. And he was very disappointed with that response.
Judaism does not equal Zionism.
Are you Jewish?
My grandfather is.
You said you were Arab.
Right.
Elisheva says there were two parts to the order she placed on Monday. One, a pink postcard that included the word Zionists. The other, about Jewish joy.
Jewish joy is something to be celebrated every single day. And you refuse to even print out those postcards, which makes you an anti-Semite.
You can claim me for
No, I don't have to claim, because that's what the cards say. I felt nauseous. I felt enraged. I felt disappointed, disheartened. So it was colorism mixed with anti-black racism, mixed with anti-Semitism all at once.
You cannot discriminate on the basis of religion or national origin, among other things.
Elisheva's lawyer says it's an example of a much larger issue.
This is part of a systemic problem of anti-Semitism, of Jew hatred, that needs to be addressed at the corporate level.
Staples declined an interview, but said the company is aware of the incident and is investigating the circumstances involving the interaction. Staples remains committed to serving all customers, and we continue to work hard to ensure respectful and professional interactions in all situations. A small group gathered outside Staples Wednesday to protest, something Elisheva didn't plan but appreciates.
It reaffirms my belief that if people actually get to know each other, if they actually have meaningful dialogue, we can unite and recognize completely when something is absolutely horribly wrong and violates every type of civil rights.
Yeah, It does.
Now, the Staples employee who you see in that video initially posted his own video response to what happened. He defended his actions on Monday. That account, both his Instagram account and that video, have since been deleted, and we've not been able to contact him for comment. Reporting live, I'm Chelsea Edwards. I'll send it back to you, Alex Sussman.
Wow. Just wow. Wow. That's in America, folks. That didn't take place in Gaza, but it's part of the playbook of what's happening to our country.
In 1943, the following directive was issued from party headquarters to all communists in the United States. It read, "When certain obstructionists become too irritating, label them after suitable build-ups as fascist or Nazi or anti-Semitic, and use the prestige of anti-fascist and tolerance organizations to discredit them. In the public mind, constantly associate those who oppose us with those names which already have a bad smell. The association will, after enough repetition, become fact in the public mind."
And that's what's happening. It was anti-Semitic what the kid did. And Staples, if I was her, I'd sue the Staples out of their staple. And I wouldn't look back. Of course, I probably wouldn't do it. But she should. But, you know, what did Jason say? I think Jason said it good. Our silence gives the license to do and say whatever they want. Silence and license have the same letters. They do, Jason. They do. Bob, I see the boycott. That's not going to stop the problem of anti-Semitism. It ain't going to stop it. You can fire the kid. You can boycott every Staples in America. It's not going to stop the anti-Semitism. That is a spiritual issue. It's a spiritual issue, Bob. It will make me not want to go to Staples. I'm not going to disagree that it sort of makes me not want to deal with him no more. I think what will make me decide that, Bob, is how corporate handles this. If that kid's allowed to stay, and we're going to follow this story because that was these Staples stores or corporate stores, but they have individual, some of them are individual franchises, but we're going to see what the corporate office does. And they do need to investigate, and I think their response to this is how we need to respond accordingly. But that's what's going on. All right. I've run my mouth a lot tonight. I knew I would run my mouth a lot. Good to see Sheila Daspit in the house. Good to see you. If you got a question, folks, and we haven't even said hello to our Facebook audience tonight, and X folks, good to see you tonight. Good to see our folks over in Rumble as well. And we got a robust crowd here on a Thursday night. April the 10th, 2025. It is so good to see everybody. Let's see here. If you got a question, anything. Dennis Floyd says, just how does a fertilized egg work? It weighs down from the wound. And that gal is the expert. Good question, Dennis. Good question, my friend. Good question. These experts, Dennis, I'm sure they would have an answer for that. I don't, Dennis. I don't. But anyway, good to see you tonight. Good to see you, Elaine Willard. And the UK has become a Muslim nation. They've done it themselves. In New York, Jeannie Castellanova says they have a non-driver ID that looks like a license for those that don't drive. Jeannie, you're right, and you know that's something that I wanted to bring up about this ID thing, and I said it today on the radio show. The next, what's the word I'm looking for? The next frontier that we've got to deal with is these local DMV offices. These local DMV offices, because I know we here in the state of Tennessee, we've had an issue with this, and Governor Lee has done his best to try to stop it, but he's not stopped all of it. But there have been local DMV offices that have been given driver's license to illegals without a Social Security card, and that's a no-no. That's a no-no. And see, the law, and Bob was right, I saw him post something about we need to enforce it. The enforcement is always the toughest part. And there's going to be lawsuits against this. I'm telling you, the ACLU will be out there this week screaming bloody murder. This is going to be tied up. But see, going against a legislative action is a lot harder than going against a executive order. And this is where the balance of power comes in. This is law. And once it becomes law, Congress can override the Supreme Court with a 2/3, and I don't know if they can get it, but this is where the warfare is coming down. But part of the reason that other law was passed about the judges in these lower courts, this will have to go to a higher court. If the ACLU wants this done, they're going to have to take it to the Supreme Court. They can't find some judge shop and get some rogue peant judge to just issue an injunction against something. This is law. But the enforcement of it has got to start at that DMV place. And look, if these people at the DMV are giving these driver's license away to people that don't have ID, I'm sorry, don't have a Social Security card, or giving them Social Security numbers and they're illegal, they can't prove citizenship, they need to go to jail. And that's part of what's in this law, that there's a 2 to 5 year jail term for if you're caught doing this stuff, you're going to go to jail. Whether that takes place, whether that actually happens, God only knows. But at least it's a start, and I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. So, Jenny, your point is well taken. But anyway, I think that it's fair to say that we got a fight on our hands, don't it? All right, let's see what we got over here on YouTube tonight. Carol Smith, does the voter ID bill require proof of citizenship? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. They have to show some kind of citizenship and proof of it. And then that's where what I was just saying to Carol too about the DMVs and the when you go get a driver's license, you have to show a residence, a light bill, something in your name, some form of ID, a Social Security card. And to get a Social Security card, that's even, another process. I put it like this, with what Trump's doing with the illegals, disappearing them as the 50501c people are claiming, disappearing. Trump's disappearing people. Yeah, he sure is. He's disappearing a lot of people right now. I'm sorry. We're scared because Trump's disappearing people. I'd be scared too if I was here illegal. I'd be scared. You need to be scared. It's good that you're scared. You're defrauding our government. You're defrauding the food stamp people. You're defrauding Medicaid. You're sitting on your carcass and not working and getting food stamps. I'd be scared too. But we got to get this cleaned up. And I know that it's not going to be a perfect clean up and a perfect fix because there's a lot to do and there's so many other loopholes, I'm sure, that these illegals and these people that are wanting this law not to work is already thinking about tonight to get these people in here to vote. That's going to have to be on the part of the Department of Justice, and I have faith in Pam Bondi that she will make sure that don't happen. And this is a Homeland Security issue to me. And Kristi Noem and our governors, that's why governors' races are important. The governors of the states are going to have to enforce this. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But Carol, it's a good point. Anyway. Jason Miller, that is absolutely right. Says, when the Lord told Abraham, I'll make your descendants as numerous as the stars, initials Satan have the same letters, and Satan has been attacking Israel ever since. That is absolutely right. Cedric says, thank you for sharing the positive news at the beginning. Jay, I'm sure Illinois will sell anybody. You know, in some states, Elaine says North Carolina, they can get one for free. So the money thing is it's just left rhetoric. It's just mumbo jumbo. It's just mumbo jumbo. My question is where they're getting the money from. I mean, it's not racist, but the issue is the voting. Look, it's not even about the driver's license at this point. But I'll put it like this. The people that are screaming the loudest about it in the negative are people that want illegals to vote. That's the bottom line. Cedric, I wish I could be positive. I try to be, Cedric.
My dear Watson.
I try to mix the good with the bad, the sweet with the sour, Try to make it a little funny. I will play a joke just for you, Cedric. This is one just for you, man. This one's just for you. This is actually from the Trumps. You're going to like this one. We may have to go out with this one tonight. This was pretty funny. We're going to try to be a little light tomorrow night. But where is that at that I saw? Let me get my glasses on. Cannot see without my glasses. But give me 1 minute here. I just had this. 1 second before we say goodnight. And alrighty, I know I had it. There it is, right here. Oh, Lord have mercy, Cedric. This one's for you.
The media has begun discussing the phenomena of secret Trump voters. I don't know if you've heard about this. People who publicly say they would never vote for Trump, but then when they go in the voting booth, they do. It's a small group. They're called the Biden family.
Oh, and on that one, I think we will bid you good night. We will bid you good night. They're called the Biden family. They're called the Biden family. All righty. Did you enjoy the show tonight on a Thursday night? We're sorry we couldn't get the judge to be with us. She wanted to be. Roger, I should have mentioned that. The courts must bring an MS-13 member back from Maryland to be given due process. Liz Goldman says they never complain when the Clintons disappeared, people. That's a good point, Liz. That's a t-shirt, Liz. Where's the complaining about Hillary disappearing people? It's a great point. Excellent point. I may even start the radio show with that tomorrow. But nobody complained about the Clintons disappearing folks. That's true. But yes, Roger, that was the only defeat we had today at the court. They're making them bring this guy. This guy don't deserve due process. And I think some of the issue was there was some ambiguity on who he was. The Trump administration pretty much knows he's a killer, but he got I don't know how it all worked out, but you're right, they're going to have to bring him back. I just think the court's opened a Pandora's box doing that tonight. But that is the country that we live in. Listen, I got to go, folks. We've been with you an hour and a half. We hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. God bless you. God bless your families. God bless this great nation of America. The Rush Limbaugh at night. No, I don't run my mouth like Rush. I could go 3 hours up. Done it before. But pray for your country.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
Elementary, my dear Watson. Keep the faith out there. And I will see you back here tomorrow night. See you back here in the morning on the face side. Good night.